One, go.
Live from Iona College, welcome to Sports Unfiltered on the radio. I'm your host, Jake Demisa.
I'm Matthew George.
And it is really weird to have an intro without music, but that is going to be a new thing for us. So, we're going to get right into this. A beautiful 65-degree day. Game happening at Yankee Stadium right now, and the New York Yankees playing the Detroit Tigers. Jonathan Loáisiga on the mound today. He got called up when CC got put on the IL. Remember, he started the season to serve his suspension from last year, and now he'll hit the IL. I don't know how long, but Loáisiga will be the guy. So, first of all, based on everything you saw from Loáisiga last year, how do you feel about him early in the season?
I think also he did very well in spring training as well. I think he picked up like two wins and had like a three even ERA. So I think he had a really good spring training. And coming into this season, I think he's just gonna fill in the shoes, as you mentioned, for CC Sabathia. So youngster is definitely going to get a lot more playing time now that CC is on the IL. So I think he has a lot of potential. Let's just see if he can pull it out a W today for the Yankees as they are continuing their homestand.
Yeah, Loáisiga's got some great stuff. The only problem I see with him is that his potential later on is going to be a long reliever. I don't see him being a starting pitcher because he's never been able to get past the 5.5 type innings, and his arsenal doesn't really fit a starting pitcher. He throws two pitches. He throws a fastball in the mid-90s, and he throws a really good slider. But eventually he's going to get figured out, and he's going to have to be a late inning, middle inning reliever.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not the future. But for right now, I guess against Detroit, and he'll probably play Baltimore's next start, it's okay. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Loáisiga. I saw him in Trenton last year, and I don't think his future is that great. As far as the Yankees go, you know that it's been a really, really rough start to the season for the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton hitting the DL, bicep strain, 10-day DL. Miguel Andujar, already a torn labrum. He could be out for the season. We don't know that. And, Luke Voit got hit in the hand yesterday. He dodged a bullet by being in the lineup today.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been another huge injury. Ellsbury on the DL, Severino, Hicks. So the Yankees at 2-3. Obviously, you're not going to panic after 5 games, but the amount of injuries piling up, it could be panic time if they keep losing.
I'm telling you, the New York curses just keeps going every single time. I'm keep talking to you about this, and it's gonna keep going. And the trend is gonna keep going every single time with the Yankees. They can't seem to stay healthy, and it's one of the reasons why they cannot push for a playoff spot. And that's what happened last season. Now this season coming forward, you already got 5 games into the season already, and you're already dealing with these injuries. It's really frustrating to see. I mean, in my perspective as a Yankee fan, but in generally, you just don't want to see your team, struggling, but solely because of injuries. Other than that, I think the offense for the Yankees has been a bit clicking, but it's just like a bit inconsistent so far. I mean, it's still only like 5 games in, but I still want to see like a lot more out of the team now that the amount of like stacked players that they have was really good. And now all of this happening is just another controversy in itself.
Yeah, I don't care who's on the field. There's no excuse to lose to the Baltimore Orioles 2 out of 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst roster in baseball. Even if they exceeded expectations, they wouldn't get more than 70 wins. So the fact that you're going to, in the first 3 games, lose 2 to Baltimore, yeah, it's early. Congrats. If you look later in the season, the wins are going to mean the same as they do later on. When the Yankees are 1 game out of the playoffs in September, you're going to look back at this and say, why didn't we beat the Orioles? It's not like the 2-3 record matters, as I said, but the games matter just as much as later on, and people don't understand that. And Gary Sanchez, what has been wrong with him? He's thrown to second base 3 straight times now, all been errors. The guy's homered 2 straight games, but there's got to be something wrong with his throwing arm. I don't know if you saw the errors. He threw it in the outfield twice, and it both caused runs to score.
Jeez, that's not good. Especially as I think he's a really good catcher, but I don't know what's happening with him. I mean, the offense is there. Well, where's the defense coming?
The offense is there with his home runs. Besides that, he's not hitting for average like he used to his first couple of years.
Mm-mm.
He's striking out literally every other time he's at the plate. So he's just the same old Gary Sanchez that we saw last year. And I think that's a huge problem for the Yankees because you need people in this line to produce with the injuries they have. You need to beat teams like the Tigers, and you're going to Baltimore next week, and then you got the Astros. If you're under 500 going into the Astros series, I get it's early, but you got to start panicking then.
Yeah, but then you think Austin Romine will actually step up and, take over that position?
Well, Romine played yesterday, I believe, when Sanchez had the day off, and he get a hit?
Yeah.
So he went like 1 for 4, and that's about what you're going to get from Austin Romine. He's never going to be a power guy. He's never going to be a guy who gets 2 hits in a game. He's a 250 hitter. There were spurts last year where he got hot. He hit about 280 for a long time in the season, and everyone was saying, oh, maybe he should be starting.
Yeah.
But every time Sanchez would hit the DL, Romine was not a good starting catcher. It didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he have like a pretty decent spring training, if I'm not mistaken, with Romine. I mean, I feel like if it's not working with Gary Sanchez, maybe just mix them around. But
As
like
far as spring training goes, I don't really look at the stats of these guys because think about the pitchers. The pitchers come out in spring training and they're throwing like, let's say, 4 sliders in a row trying to work on one pitch. They're not really trying to get the guy out. They're more trying to get the kinks out of their own throwing motion and everything. So the averages are always obscured. The ERAs are always higher, so you can't look at spring training stats unless it's like a rookie competing for a job. But as far as the Yankees go, I like DJ LeMahieu leading off today. I like him at third base, and I think he should be leading off more with Brett Gardner already struggling. Because Brett Gardner hitting the bench today, he should stay on the bench. He has 1 hit so far, a bloop single.
Like, how Didn't he have a home run? Didn't he have a home run also?
The only game I haven't watched is yesterday. So if Gardner homered yesterday, I could be wrong. But
yeah, I think Gardy had a home run.
Gardy homered yesterday?
I know, not yesterday, but I think a couple
if it wasn't yesterday, I'm telling you, he hasn't homered yet.
Yeah,
there's no way. Because he's really struggled the games I've watched. I've already gone to the game James Paxton pitched. That was the second game of the season. And another 0-4 game for Gardner. A lot of runners in scoring position, he really screwed up.
You think he should be just? I feel like he should be at least in the bottom of the lineup.
I think he's the 4th outfielder, and Aaron Hicks being hurt is the reason he's even started to begin with. But now that Giancarlo's hurt, I get he's got to play some, but I'd rather Clint Frazier in there than Brett Gardner.
Yeah,
there's no reason not to have Clint Frazier in there.
Yeah, I don't know, because the way you see now the controversy is already starting already with the Yankees. I just hate to see it, man. I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to say, and it's already starting with the whole arguments about what the future for the Yankees can be. You know, that curse is going to continue, and if somebody
I don't believe in this injury curse. I already told you that. I mean, things just happen.
I mean, I know, but look at the past few years, man. Like, if you've seen what's happening with all these injuries, it's the reason why they can't really go far. They can't go far and push for a World Series title.
Who was the big injury last year that caused them to lose to the Red Sox in the playoffs? Because Didi got hurt late in that series.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't it Didi?
But Didi got hurt. He played every game in the series. It's not like his injury really affected them.
Yeah,
they just flat out lost to the Red Sox last year. They can't blame injuries for that.
Yeah. Well, no. Obviously they're not. Well, obviously they're in that playoff series. The better team was definitely Red Sox. Was definitely the Red Sox by a decent long shot. But I don't know. I think we're looking forward to this season. I'm really expecting New York to make a better push as the season goes on.
Well, the silver lining in all of this is the Red Sox only have 1 win so far.
Yeah.
So even though you're struggling, the Red Sox are not getting a big lead early on. And again, those games, getting a lead early on, are going to matter later in the season. So, once again, you don't panic losing games in the beginning of the season, but you have to start looking at standings early on because the games matter just as much now as they do in the future. And everyone's going to tell you differently. I don't agree with that at all. 2 guys I want to highlight before we move on from the Yankees. Troy Tulowitzki, 188 home runs in his career, 299 batting average, but a lot of that was because of Coors Field. And then he's been hurt the last 2 years. He didn't play any games at all last year. And the year before that, he played about 1/4 of the season. So what do you think about Troy Tulowitzki? Do you think he's going to have a bounce back year, or do you think he's done?
I think he's going to have I think it's going to be a bit of a balance between those two, because I think that you're switching. Well, first of all, you're switching from the National to the American League. That's first of all, and then second of all,
he was on Toronto the last 2 years. So
yeah, and
he does know American League pitching.
Yeah, and then because what do you think? What do you think Blue Jays have done in the past few years? They really haven't. They've been in the low
tier.
They've
done. A lot of people say if you switch leagues, you're going from pitchers you're used to facing to all these new pitchers who you've never faced in your career.
Exactly.
Tulo's had 2 years to adjust to all these new pitchers, so that's no longer an excuse for him.
Yeah. So and then I think he may have a rejuvenating career, but I just want to see what he'll actually do with the Yankees, because him in the lineup when I first saw it, him in the lineup and at the bottom end, I'm just like, wow, this team is really stacked, and that's the problem. And I was like, coming into the season, I'm really gonna hope for a lot, and then especially now that Troy Tulowitzki is in the bottom of your lineup, that's crazy. So I think he's gonna have at least an offensive breakthrough, at least at some point this season. I really want to see that out of Troy Tulowitzki. I don't know what you think, because that's my perspective on it, because I really am I'm kind of a decent fan of Troy Tulowitzki as well. I mean, I get it. He's in the middle of like almost towards the end of his career, so I'm just like on the fritz of it. But I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I'm also a Rocky fan, so I've watched Tulo for many, many years, and
Hmm.
obviously he's a shell of what he used to be. He wasn't all based on the ballpark. Back then, he could have hit in any ballpark.
Hmm.
But all the injuries have taken such a toll on him that I think he's going to be off the Yankees by the time Didi's ready to come back,
Hmm.
late July, early August. Because he's looked okay the first couple games. He hit a home run, and I think he's hitting, what, like 250 right now?
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
But the fact is, his body's not going to hold up. It never does. You just got to be realistic with Troy Tulowitzki. And this roster is going to be so deep when Didi comes back that he probably won't be in it for the long run.
You don't think he's going to be in the bench at all either?
No, I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Tyler Wade's going to finally show himself.
Yeah.
And I think DJ LeMahieu is the perfect guy for the bench once everyone's healthy. Because he can go all around the infield. Troy Tulowitzki pretty much set with shortstop and maybe second base.
Mm-hmm.
He's never played first in his career. He can't play third. So he doesn't have the arm to play third anymore.
Yeah.
So DJ, the perfect guy. Troy Tulowitzki won't fit the roster when Didi comes back. But as far as the Yankee goes, and it's been a problem since literally 2000, they are a team where they always look better on paper than they actually play. They won the World Series in 2009. Congrats for that. But besides that, what is the most memorable year in Yankee history? 2 years ago when they went to the ALCS against the Astros, and that on paper was not a team that was supposed to make noise. That was a team that had a lot of rookies, and they exceeded everybody's expectations. Whenever somebody has expectations for the Yankees, it never works.
Mm-mm.
So I kind of wish the Yankees stayed like that. I like the underdog Yankees better than the Evil Empire because the Evil Empire doesn't win championships. When Pettit and Jeter and Posada and Mariano were winning championships, they had to become the Evil Empire. They didn't buy their way into being the Evil Empire. Now the Cashman's starting to get too fancy and starting to spend too much money. And even though you didn't get Machado and Harper, you're still spending too much money on guys and you're not developing other guys.
Yeah, and then look at the core, look how long it took the core for it to actually get another championship. Other than 2009, other than 2000, it took them 9 years to get another championship. So yeah,
that's when you started buying players. You bought A-Rod, you bought Sheffield, you bought Giambi. You had all these players in between, Musina, all these players in between that never went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the story of the Yankees lately. The last 2 decades has not been the best for the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really hope that the chase for 28 can be a reality soon. I mean, I think we both would come to fruition on that one, but only time will tell on that one, honestly.
Well, I don't think there's any 28 title coming unless Severino can get healthy and be an anchor in that rotation. Because James Paxton's gonna have an awesome year, but he needs a sidekick, and I don't see anybody else besides Severino being that sidekick.
Not even Masahiro.
Tanaka's been good, but again, he's faced the Tigers and the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens when he starts facing teams he usually struggles against, like the Red Sox and the Astros.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. And what's the bigger shock so far to you? The Yankees starting 2-3 or the Mets starting 4-1?
Mets starting 4-1. Well, I mean, I'm not in shock that the Yankees are struggling because of the injuries.
Again, it's not about the record though; it's about who they've lost to.
Yeah,
it's the Baltimore Orioles and the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and that should. I mean, again, losing to the Baltimore Orioles is never an excuse, but the Mets actually getting to a good start is actually really surprising me. But again, it's still early, so it's a bit of a speculation. But I do but I'm very surprised to see that that the Mets pitching has actually stepped on the early going so far. So
no, well, that's not a surprise. I mean, the Mets pitching is always going to be one of the best rotations of baseball. It's just the hitting has actually gotten going. A lot of it's due to Peter Alonso, the rookie who I have in all my fantasy leagues. I hope everyone out there knows that. But Peter Alonso has been awesome so far. He hit his first career home run over the center field fence yesterday, and Nimmo has struggled a little bit. But besides that, Jeff McNeil, when he's in the lineup, 4 hits the other day. Conforto's been good. Who's the other guy? Dominic Smith came in yesterday. He had a big hit. So the Mets have started 11-1 last year. People are so quick to forget that. This is a much better team on paper, and this Met team could actually go far into the playoffs. I could see an NLCS of the Mets and the Phillies. And I said that before the season started, so I don't want to hear, oh, the Phillies are 4-0 and the Mets are 4-1. That's why you're saying that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't care about early season records. I care about these rosters. They're very deep, and I really think the Mets can make a run like they did in 2015.
Yeah, I really want to see that happening again because again, they did it once, so why not happen again? Why not do it again? I mean, again, they are facing the Marlins. I think is it today?
Yeah,
right?
DeGrom's on the mound today.
Mm-hmm,
Trevor Richards, they're facing a really good young pitcher for the Marlins. He had a really good first start against the Rockies. So I like Trevor Richards, but DeGrom obviously the best pitcher in baseball right now. The Mets should be winning again today.
Definitely. Because obviously the Marlins don't have a really a stacked
Yeah,
team.
but just like the Yankees, who lost to the Orioles, the Marlins beat the Rockies twice.
Yeah.
So these bad teams have been beating up on my team. So
I don't. It's so funny. It's so funny that everyone's hitting up on all these teams already so early on. But again, hard to adjust. It's a lot to adjust to because that now the Yankees is basically just starting. Everyone's starting fresh this season. So
yeah, and a lot of young guys are really doing well in the Mets, like I said. But the guy who's come in and shockingly has played really well is Robinson Cano.
Yeah, he definitely got that. Yeah, I saw that dinger that he had, and then
first game of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a blast into center field. So I want to see, and so him back in New York is great to see. But obviously he's on a Yankee uniform. FYI, I like really was a fan of Robinson Cano when he was back with the Yankees. But I do want to see him. Rejuvenate his career with the Mets because he had such a would you say it's like somewhat a lackluster season with lackluster career with the Mariners?
I mean, it wasn't like his Yankee career, but he had a couple years in there where he silently hit 40 home runs. So
yeah,
he was decent for Seattle. It's just last year, I'm really shocked Cano's come back this year and started hitting because last year 80-game suspension obviously for steroids, and when he came back, he could barely crack Seattle's lineup. And I think when he got in the lineup and roomed the chemistry is actually why Seattle didn't get the second wild card over Oakland. I think he destroyed that team. And that's why I think they were so willing to trade him, even if it meant trading Edwin Diaz as well. And the Mets made that trade in the offseason. I think they definitely won that. And so far it's worked out. Diaz has been great. 2 saves, and he's pitched 3 times, 0 ERA. And Cano has a home run and a couple extra base hits to go with it. So the Mets, I really think they can keep it going. I like that pitching a lot better than the Yankees. And that hitting, they get cold at times, but with Ramos in there, with Cano in there, Peter Alonso, much better than last year, and they could definitely keep it going.
Definitely, and especially, I still believe that Cano is probably one of the best contact hitting all around contact hitters in the league. So at least he's my underdog pick. So with that being said, I think he definitely deserves a lot more credit than he should be. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Mets this season. Very good start as we mentioned, with that 4-1 start.
And by the way, your MVP pick Ben Zobrist is yet to get a hit this year, so that's not going.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we might never know what happens. It's still early. I think the Cubs can still go far. So why not?
Last thing I'm going to say is Bryce Harper, after striking out twice to Max Scherzer yesterday, he hit a dinger against the Washington Nationals in D.C. And honestly, I might sound hypocritical because of all the bad things I said about John Tavares, but it felt good to see Bryce Harper hit that home run.
Definitely.
After what that crowd did to him. So hypocritical for me to say that, but I really like that home run.
You know how you see how emotional he was when he first stepped on the field in the first game in that first game of the season. He was going absolutely bonkers. I just hope his emotions don't get the best of him. But I think he's gonna definitely have a really good career, a long-term career.
But I also don't see why National fans booed him out of the building. John Tavares said he wanted to be on Long Island forever. He said, "Don't trade me. I'm going to play for your franchise." Bryce Harper was pretty honest, saying, "I'm not going to re-sign." He pretty much said he's going to hit the open market and see what happens. John Tavares didn't do that. It's a completely different situation. And that's why I think Bryce Harper actually should have been cheered.
I think because national fans wanted him to be the franchise be the franchise player of the team. So that's probably why they're really booing. Yeah, they're really booing him. I don't know. What do you think? Because I really think that's the main reason why.
I mean, I understand why they would boo him. I just don't think he should have got booed. I think it's a completely different situation. I think he's done a lot for that franchise and was pretty much honest with all the fans and the organization throughout the whole entire process. That's something I could talk about for a long, long time, but we have to go to break. When we get back, we will talk about the NCAA tournament. You're listening to Sports Unfiltered live on WICR.